So the problem's pretty obvious. We've got a flogged out windscreen wiper, actuating arm thingeries. Don't actually know what these are called. Anyway, they're all the critical components that make your windscreen wipers do their whole dance move routine. And as you can see, these have a bit of wear, and they don't exist anymore. They don't seem to be making any replacements. This is off a GU Patrol, and it's come into my workshop, and the gentleman is like, I don't want to buy a new ute, I like my old ute. And that is a sentiment that I really feel strongly. I couldn't agree more. I don't want to buy a new vehicle when my old vehicle works just fine, providing you can sort of keep getting these little replacement parts. It's almost like they don't want us to keep fixing our nice old vehicles that we've spent a lot of time and money and love maintaining and enjoying over the years. Anyway, it's funny how logical some of this stuff is, and you soon realize exactly why they do the things they do. And at first I was like, well, why don't I just, drill and tap a hole in the top of this to hold that on? But that kind of defeats the purpose of this being a ball and it being able to sort of move and have that freedom of access. Anyway, it's not going to work. So the top clip needs to go just over the horizon, if you like, so that it locks on, and have a recess that's going to support this bar, this arm, snugly. Actually, probably what I should do is just build that up with weld and clean it up and sort of get it back to being nice and round. And we need something underneath that's got to be stretchy. Now, they've used like this nice rubber. These are sort of flattened out over the years. Now, stretchy isn't a problem. I've got TPU filament that's a flexible filament, and that should do the job, providing I keep the geometry really quite simple. I haven't mastered printing TPU yet. I really should get a filament dryer or make something up. Apparently that helps a lot. Okay. There we go. Don't know if you can see it, but there is actually a little bushing in there that looks like it's just been tacked in fatigue. Might be more obvious here, that shiny ring. So, oh, here we go. Yeah, you can see that better now. So they actually put some hard wearing stuff in there, that's pretty cool. I don't think I'm going to do that. I'm just going to use some silicon bronze and build this up all the way around, and then I'll drop an 18mm end mill through it. I think that's the best solution, really. So I'm going to use pulse when I TIG weld this, and that's just to mitigate the heat. But why I'm mentioning this now is if you're sensitive to lots of bright flashes, then you need to sort of skip this bit, because this is going to be a very bright, flashy event. Not in the fancy way. Right. Now, this would be perfectly acceptable to sort of remove the material and get this flat. But what I've found is, if you really want to get something flat, you need a sanding disc with a rubber backing pad. I don't know if you saw the bright sparks, but that would have been the hard bearing material I was hitting. That's the big reason why I used silicon bronze is it'll weld dissimilar metals, well, braze dissimilar metals. Now, the plan of attack is I'm going to measure from this feature to the center of that hole, because we have the same hole at this end, and that should give me a pretty consistent result, hopefully. So I've used this parallel to roughly align and get everything flat in the vise, and I've got a broken 2mm end mill. Who could have seen that coming? And I'm going to use that to align the spindle with this hole, and that's going to be my starting reference to then get up here to the middle of this now hideous repair. Fairly simply. Apart from this one little piece here, the repair looks pretty good actually. Let's see how it measures. Oh, like 3 micron under, that's actually perfect. I've found that these arbors for like the mag drills cut incredibly accurate holes. I've always been impressed with those actually. Didn't have an 18mm end mill, but yeah, in a pinch, they do a really good job. Alright, we just need to wait for the 3D printers to finish now. It has been a couple of days, and as you can see, I've gone through a few different versions to try and get this right. Just trying to mimic the original version. Well, it didn't quite pay off. Now, part of this is my fault. I thought I had PEGT in the printer, and it ended up I had PLA. So, yeah, this wasn't really strong enough to begin with. But it's a good thing, because what I've come up with is a split system that will clamp around the ball really well. And more or less, I've recreated what the original guys from Nissan came up with, which is, I guess the beauty of engineering is that you eventually sort of come to the same conclusion. Okay, I've just put a little bit of detergent on that ball. If I can stretch this thing over. Yep. They're all a bit tough like this. Okay, that's working. Oh, there we go. It's quite snug, and that takes a bit of brute force, but now that it's on there. Graphite powder, being sort of, not wet, it won't attract dust. Industrial plastic magic. Put that on there. Clip. I think that the shoulder of this plastic clip is supposed to be the wear part, and this isn't supposed to spin. So it's a good thing that it's tight. I mean, it's free enough that it can pivot, but it's firm enough that it's not going to spin with it, because you want this to be the consumable, not the ball underneath. So I'm happy with that. So with this support washer, I'm putting the rough side down to the plastic to sort of hopefully stop that from spinning. I'm going to slip that on there. And it should just pop in like that. And there we go. That just clipped in, and that's it, apart from the 2 screws. There is no play in that. It's very smooth, very little resistance. It also has full articulation still. So this is what we were going for. This is what we tried to achieve. And I just needed to work out a way of doing it that I was satisfied that it wasn't going to pop off like when you kind of need it the most while you're driving. There's kind of a little bit at stake here, you know. The ability to see in the rain, a little bit important. That's pretty much it. Waiting for the last 2 to print. So I don't think you really need to see me play around with those, but this little fix should keep old mate happy and keep his car on the road, which is really what this is all about. I'm happy with that. That is brilliant. I'm extremely happy. Hopefully this fix will last many, many years. That's the plan. Is it as good as the original? Don't know. Honestly, don't know. Time will tell. I do feel very confident about this repair though. And now that I've seen it, I can't really unsee it. It looks like a toad, a cane toad. I didn't mean for that, but hey. There you go.